Trial against the University of Kentucky is now underway in a federal courthouse here in Lexington. Two students claim the university violated Title IX, saying they discriminated against female athletes.
WKYT's Jessica Umbro talked with a former University of Kentucky women's basketball player about how female athletes deserve better, according to her. It is our top story at 5:30.
Title IX, gave me the opportunity to not only participate and compete and play in a sport that I love, but also gave me the ability to coach and continue to do that throughout my career.
Lee-Wise Pruitt went from being a star on the court for the Wildcats to a leader on the sidelines for the Center College Lady Colonels in the 1980s. Pruitt believes institutions can better cater to their students' athletic needs.
You have to always be asking the students, what are you interested in? And if there's a great interest in a certain sport, then you have to really look at that and say, hey, should we offer this as a varsity sport?
While Pruitt is not involved in the current lawsuit against the University of Kentucky, her experience as a college athlete and coach leads her to support athletes who use Title IX to advocate for themselves.
It's not as easy as saying, hey, let's just throw this sport in there. There's a lot that goes on to forming a sport. But I do think athletic departments have to do their due diligence and look at what is needed by the students and what is wanted by the students and what the students are interested in. And you have to stay current, too.
And while adding to an existing athletic program is not simple, sometimes it's necessary.
That's what Title IX was put in. That's why it's there, is so that you have that option. It's not just having the sport. It's having the facilities and the scholarships and the medical training and the travel and the tutoring, and it's everything.
In Lexington, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
So how does the University of Kentucky stack up for equality and athletics? We did some fact checking. Here's WKYT Investigates Garrett Weimer.
Well, Bill, the Equity in Athletics Disclosure Act requires colleges and universities to file an annual report with the federal government about Title IX. And the latest numbers are from 2022, and we looked at how the University of Kentucky compares to the other 13 schools currently in the Southeastern Conference. So looking at overall enrollment, women make up 57% of students at UK. But when you break down the gender of student athletes, women make up just 49%. Now, compared to other schools in the SEC, UK had the 6th highest percentage of female student athletes. When it comes to coaching, Kentucky and 8 other SEC schools had no female head coaches of men's teams. Now, for women's teams, 6 of the head coaches are men and 4 are women. That means 40% of women's teams have female head coaches. The university handed out nearly $15 million in student aid. The majority went to male student athletes, just 42% of that went to female athletes. We also compared the operating expenses for athletics programs. At Kentucky, it self-reported $9.7 million went to men's sports and $4 million to women's sports. Kentucky ranked 9th for the percentage of its operating expenses going to women's sports, with just 29%. Let's look now at the average pay for those head coaches. The average for a UK head men's team coach was just over $2 million. That's the 5th highest in the SEC. Meanwhile, the average for a UK women's team head coach was just under $250,000. Kentucky ranks near the bottom. That's 12th out of 14 for women's head coach pay. With this WKYT Fact Check, I'm Garrett Weimer.